Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. We've got our friend Casey here with Playster, and we want to talk about making you the local authority, or like Gary Vaynerchuk used to say, the digital mayor of your town.
I
It's
like that.
changed a little bit because we have an advantage now, and it's called Playster, and they
Yeah.
use AI extremely well. So, Casey, where do you want to start with this?
Let's start on the campaign trail, the digital shaking hands and kissing babies. So I like the analogy of the
The
mayor.
campaign trail, dude,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, let's set the stage a little bit because I often find in my conversations that there's a level of convincing people that this is going on. And I think a lot of us as consumers, demographics might say differently, but as consumers, we're already starting to feel this trend of number one, AI. And I think that's kind of the elephant in the room is like, how has AI changed the way that search happens? And I love this headline here around Zillow's share of agent discovery traffic. And the reason I pull this up, not because I'm like trying to beat up on Zillow if anybody's out there and loves them, but I think it's a really, really good reminder to every agent and brokerage out there that there's a palpable shift. And I spent so
Mm.
many years talking to people about how to get themselves online, doing strategy sessions for new agents, for established agents or teams. And there was always this like, should I even try to compete online? Because Zillow has come in with all the other portals and like they've eaten my lunch. So what can I really do?
Right.
And some people focused on long tail keyword searches for SEO, and obviously people still ranked and did well. But that was really difficult. And I just like to call out now that, because of the way that buyers and sellers are searching, there's going to be a shift in who shows up and where the market share goes. And this is the moment in time to do it, right? The same way that, individual agents dominated Google before the portals, right? There was a
Mhm.
window. I don't think the portals are going to be very far behind in figuring out their ninja moves on how to leapfrog above other agents. So, like,
Yeah.
do it now, be the ones that create a foundation because it's a self fulfilling prophecy, right? People that are there early,
Mm.
people that are there consistently, and they have the back data for these search engines to look for. Those are the ones that over time will continue to build authority. And we're going to talk about really great ways to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up this slide because you watched Zillow and then Realtor.com and then Redfin have their app inside of ChatGPT because they realize that AI is the new UI, right?
Yeah.
Everyone needs to
Yeah.
be there first.
Yep.
And that tells us, well, why the hell aren't we there?
Right.
Right?
They're making the investment. They see it. If they see where the ball is going, it's usually a pretty good indicator. These companies have done pretty well, over their lifetime. I love these other ones. And this isn't meant to scare people, but, on average, as a buyer, we're looking at 5 local agents, right? And that's awesome. I think that means that there's not this preconceived notion of
Mm.
like, oh, there's only 1 or 2 people in my market who everybody looks up and then they go to work with them. But there's only usually 1 agent that people typically contact. And this has been a change, right? The idea of interviewing multiple agents in person, a lot of these coffee breaks to go meet with 2 or 3 agents in a day, that's kind of changed because people feel, and I say people like buyers and sellers, they feel like they can do that looking online. And
Mhm.
some people go, oh no, how am I going to compete? We'll talk about ways I think to separate you from the pack, but it's good that consumers are searching online because it means you have an opportunity. Bad that there's only 1 person that they're contacting, but if you're not that person they're picking up the phone and contacting, it means that you still have opportunity to be one of those phone calls. And I think all the time about like so many agents we talk to at Playster, they are killer at networking, right? They're at local events, they're giving out cards, they're they're meeting new people, they're doing cold outreach. And I always ask people, like, how many business cards did you give out? How many eyes do you think saw one of your pieces of marketing? And they'll usually give me a number, and it varies. And then I ask, how many inbound referrals did you get? And those two numbers have a massive gap, right? The amount of people that hear your name, get your card, versus the ones that pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah.
And so those are the people that I think we have a great opportunity with. They probably looked you up. They probably saw something. It's just a matter of, did they see enough to go through and send that text message?
Good point.
All right, let's talk about local intent, right? And this goes beyond real estate. Almost half of the traffic just out there in the internet has some kind of local intent, right?
Okay.
Best pizza place near me. And that might be because you're traveling to a new city and you don't know the pizza place is, or, where can I find a shoe repair so I can get something fixed before a wedding I have this weekend? These are things that people want kind of right there in their backyard. And obviously real estate takes the same approach. And so being really specific about being local is a trend that's out there no matter what. And in real estate, it's kind of tenfold. This last one, this was one from NAR, and this continues to go up. What are home buyers ranking as their number one decision makers? Neighborhood quality is overwhelmingly the number one decision factor. And people are like, well, I can't influence how good or bad a neighborhood is, right? How do I do there? You understanding the qualities about something as local as a neighborhood, and you writing content and showing that you know and understand it, means that you have an asset to give to your buyers for the number one quality they're looking for. I live in a city where our neighborhoods are very tightly, tightly knit next to each other.
Yeah,
But there are distinct differences in Boston from neighborhood A to B to C. And I want my realtor to understand that. I want them to know why at this stage of my life, one neighborhood may make more sense over another, because it shows that they understand the lay of the land. And it gives me a lot of trust and confidence that this is a person who's going to guide me to make the right decision.
That's true. I have a question on that, because you're making me think about this now together. If I'm going, and I don't know if you know the answer to this because I don't.
Sure.
If I'm going to AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and I'm going to Google to choose a real estate agent, what am I looking for that makes me decide on one agent over the other four? Anything besides that number 3, which I think that's somewhere in the top 5, maybe the top 3.
I'm going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to show you a few examples of things that I think separate. And I don't, some of this is qualitative. I look at, for good or for bad, I look at hundreds of sites in a week. And then we can see data around sites that convert. And so I put a list together of the top things I think you should focus on a site. And now when it comes to that site, I think people also need to be reminded that this is the central destination online. And I'm sure you've seen this too, Tristan, like an agent gets started and they've got this like really great, robust Facebook business page, which is awesome. But then that's like kind of all they have, right? And they don't go beyond that. And I try to remind people that the thing that you have the most control over is your website. The thing that you can use as a two-way street is your website. And the idea is that no matter somebody getting your business card, like we described, or getting, Tristan, you as a referral from their friend, they're still going to Google you. And what are they going to find? You want them to find the thing you have the most control over, which is your site. If you send out email content and you want to engage with your sphere, well, guess what? You don't want to send them to your Zillow profile page. Why?
No.
Because Zillow wants to find every angle to put an ad in front of that consumer so they can sell that ad space to another agent, right? They're not incentivized for you to use their landing pages as the be all end all, even if you've got a bunch of great reviews and testimonials there. So having your site be the backdrop of the pages you send in your email marketing, and then even something like a paid ad, right? Having a paid ad that you're doing on Meta or on Google, driving back to a page on your site that you have fine-grained control over the content, over the types of CTA, over when it happens, how to track them, all that, you get the best control of your website. So my pitch to everybody out there is think about your online presence. You need to do all the other stuff, right? And we'll talk about some of the things that plug in. But at the end of the day, you don't control your Google business profile 100% because it's still a card with Google. And you don't control your Zillow profile page or your Facebook business page as much as you may think. You get influence over it, but that's not yours at the end of the day to do whatever you want with. I want to remind everybody too, that if you're sitting there going, I don't love my website, I don't want to make this the focal point, or I don't have a website, this is Playster's bread and butter. We do this all day. We do this for hundreds of agents a day. And there is so much opportunity for you to get a bespoke, personalized site in under 3 minutes. So
I'll tell you something on this really quick, because we last week, for the AI coaching that we do, the workshops where we have people work and stuff, we had like 200 people on watching. And then I'm going through the things that we need on a website. I pull up one of your slides, by the way, because it was really good. And then I'm like, yeah, listen, if you've got Playster, don't worry about it. They actually built in AI into this, right?
Yeah.
And then I had like 3 people like, oh my God, thank you so much. I have Playster. I don't have to switch. I'm like, yeah, you guys don't have to switch.
You're good. Yeah.
But I'm like, interesting. That's why, Casey, that's why I'm also bringing you guys into the workshop so that you guys can present and show exactly what this looks like, because we think it's extremely important.
I mean, everybody here and everybody through LCA, you guys get a 25% discount for your first year. So it's already a killer deal there. But you can start a trial and you can see in under 3 minutes us pulling in your reviews, your testimonials, your local area for area pages with IDX search, local photography for your area, headshots, everything about you that we can find. And it takes out this guessing game of like, well, like, what do I need to do? Okay, we took care of that for you. And then it takes out the like, well, it's really hard and cumbersome to do it. We took that out for you. LCA discount takes out the like, well, it's usually expensive to get this stuff customized. So give it a shot if you don't have a site. Everything we're going to talk about in the rest of the webinar obviously can be done extremely well on a Playster site. This is not only done on a Playster site, so don't worry. There's still plenty of relevant information here for you. But don't let the I don't have a site or I don't have a site I love, don't let that be a barrier. We've got a great solution for you. All right, let's talk about consistency, because consumers love consistency. AI love consistency. Search engines love consistency. And I start with bio because this is one of the places, and we've done this, in other past webinars, having your contact information, which may sound so simple, having your contact information be the same on your site as it is everywhere else on all the other profiles you have out there, that matters. Why does that matter? It matters because a lot of agents, they change brokerages, they change locations, sometimes they even change phone numbers, obviously emails from broker to broker. Have one place where you have your digital business card through your bio that you can copy and stamp everywhere else. If your brokerage does not require you to use an @KW or @ email address, have a business email address that you can take with you through every brokerage you join. When you become independent, you have your own email address, and it signals to the AI that this is the same person, right? This is the same Casey Popkins, still working in Boston, still working in these neighborhoods. And it seems like a small detail, but AIs hate when it feels like it doesn't know who you are and can't triangulate you across 3 or 4 different profiles you have out there.
I'm going to interrupt you on that one, because yesterday we did a webinar with Realtor.com, and they're focusing on every agent enhancing their profile just on Realtor.com, because Realtor.com is one of the authority sites, right? So people can type it in, right? But when I was talking to them, they said, look, on your profile, once you have it down, make sure you use that exact same one everywhere else, right?
Absolutely.
And so
I love that.
it's exactly what you said, and I'm like, yeah, simplify it.
Same thing. And it doesn't matter where it generates from or where it originates from. It just has to be consistent. Most of us have the most control over our website. So whether you build it on realtor.com
True.
and copy and paste it onto your site, either way, have that same profile live everywhere else. Have an updated headshot too. There is nothing worse than like meeting somebody in person or, seeing them somewhere at an event, getting their card or going online and being like, I don't think I met that person. Like that looks like maybe them 10 years ago, but like, did I get their assistance card? Like, did I meet the wrong person? Like, it just seems so dumb. But all the conferences we used to go to and we would get someone's card and I'd get home and look them up and go, no way I didn't meet that person, only to realize that this headshot was 10 or 12 years old.
Dude, it's the worst walking in. I have two stories on that really quick. One, this is just me meeting other agents at different conferences.
Yeah.
When they come up to me, I don't recognize them at all. Like, and I'm like, dude, I've only seen your picture. And I'm like, I've never even, oh, you're that, oh, damn. And then I feel bad. That's one. Number two is we go to listing presentations. I walk into a listing presentation. This is Malibu home on the beach, 25 million. Call on a postcard. First thing that they say when they open the door, oh, you look just like your picture. The first thing out of their mouths. And I was like, wow. That left such an impression on me. I'm just telling you that.
No, I love that because the postcard I got from you is one with the big muscles. Took off
Dude,
15 years.
Listen, we don't want to talk about that here.
Yeah, so I'm glad you gave them the real one.
It's so funny.
And this goes for visual branding too, right? You've got to have your color, your tone, your voice, make that marketing match everywhere. And again, sometimes people do this where they have a moment of like, well, I went to Facebook, I did a few posts on Facebook, and then I went to Instagram, I did a few posts on Instagram, and they look nothing alike. And if you look at any great business out there and just go outside of real estate, go to their Facebook, go to their Instagram, go to their website, and you're just going to see a consistency that you should emulate in your own brand. It really, really matters. Target market, we talked a little bit about this one earlier, but you want to carve out a space inside of your local market that shows that you actually know what your consumers are looking for. And again, I'm going to go back to Boston because it's what I know. If I talk to an agent that said they specialize in Boston, I'm automatically going to know they're kind of full of shit because nobody could specialize in the entire city of Boston. The Seaport has glass, $1,500 square foot, squeaky new, $3,000 a month HOA fee condos. That is entirely different than 1850s brick, brownstone. You got to worry about a whole other slew of problems, right? Those are worlds apart. They happen to only be separated by 2 miles. But the idea of what you need to educate your buyer or seller on going into brand new glass build that looks out in the water versus brownstone historic society can't change a shingle outside your door.
Dude.
Hey, that's totally different.
It is.
Understanding the market, carving out your niche, and then be willing to push your cards in on content creation around that and not having to feel the pull of, oh my God, I have to be everything to everybody everywhere all at once. That doesn't show expertise, right? Expertise shows I know a very specific thing. I love when I drive by, like in where I grew up, our neighborhoods had, the car dealerships, like only German imports, only UK imports. And as a kid, you're like, well, that seems dumb. They're alienating all this other business. And it's like, no, working on a BMW is a lot different than working on a Ford.
Yeah.
And it's just like, be really good at one thing. And guess what? Everybody takes your BMW to that shop because you're that expert.
That's so true.
Specialties, unique expertise. We're going to get into some of the way to kind of show this through proof. But, if there's something that you do really well, hey, I'm really great with credit repair, or I'm really great with, military and understanding loans around military, like that's a thing to call out. some people surround their whole businesses, and I'm not saying you have to take that leap and do it, but make sure there's something unique about you that's special, that you talk about again in your profile, that you highlight it on social media where you can, so people can start to see that like there's a specific thing you can help them with. Tons of benefit to creating content around that that's going to help you get found. And I'll show an example of one of our customers who did that.
Please.
Photography and images. I mean, the stock image game is over. Like if you're relying on generic interior, exterior of like could be anywhere, that's done. You got to have stuff that looks and feels like your market. I know what Boston looks like. I hate when I feel like somebody put up generic old downtown and I'm supposed to be convinced. I'm not. So you guys out there, everyone's got a camera in their pocket that 10 years ago you would have probably paid somebody thousands of dollars for the same quality.
Dude, yes.
I'm not saying to ditch your local photographer. There's a time and place for all that, especially with something like drone footage. But if you need something, the barrier to entry is gone. You can use your phone to do that. Okay, let's talk about that building trust through proof, because there was an article.
As you're
CEO
looking...
of a great competitor of ours. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was saying the CEO had been referencing things that people should do, to get found through AEO. Mm-hmm. And this idea of awards, accolades, certificates, and showing people that you have proof and you can teach the AI models that you actually should be trusted. You should also be showing your consumers, because there's two sides to this game, right? You got to have the things that the search engines look for, which are all these things, but you also have to remember humans are visiting your website. You can't do AI slop for everything and just have it be consumable for the AI. So then when someone gets your answer, they get to your site and they're like, the hell am I looking at here? This looks kind of all over the place because you wrote it for a computer. It's got to still be very convincing to the consumers that are showing up. So I love sold listings. If you've got some buy side or sell side, if you've been in the market, it is great to show people, I've worked in your area, I've worked in your backyard. If you don't personally have sold listings, I tell people, use your brokerage's sold listings. Everybody has access to their broker sold listings. If you have an IDX feed on your site, which you should, you can set your sold listings to be office-wide or brokerage-wide. And it shows people that you're in the market that they're in. And it shows people that you're a part of a company that's doing business, that's trusted by other neighbors, even if it's not you, the one on the transaction side.
True.
Reviews and testimonials. I think we did a whole webinar on this a few months ago about proof through reviews and through testimonials. If you want to go read over all the data that shows how there's a 5 to 10x conversion on social proof versus none in real estate, outside of real estate, this is probably the biggest thing that you can do for yourself, is aggregating all of those reviews and testimonials onto one site. I love when someone takes a Placer site and they got reviews from Google, Zillow, they've got reviews directly on their site. They've and they just put it in one place. Placer does this really well. Other sites will do it too. If it lives out on those other places, on the Google and the Zillow, send them back to your site, right? Everybody's going to leave a review in a different place. So you need to have one place that aggregates all of them to show that breadth. So I don't have to go to 5 different sources. Community involvement. I mean, there are a lot of agents in my neighborhood that they're out there on the street, right? They're working with local community events, neighborhood cleanups, things like that. They're hosting, get-togethers to people that are relocating to the neighborhood to get to meet each other. That is really important that you're showing that off and talking about it and in a genuine way. Same for awards or accolades. Like if you've been recognized by your brokerage, right? There's a president's club that you won, or you did something in your industry that's worth talking about. Make sure that you've got a spot that shows people that your certificates, if there's something you specialize in, because these are the little details, right? If we go back a few slides to that, they look at 5 agents, they pick one. These are the details that we see that show up on those sites where that person is getting a call, right? If you want to separate everybody else from who's doing what, this is what people are doing. They're putting that proof out there alongside of a localized search site. They're having all the other proof points that show that you're actively involved in this market.
Dude, I like this.
As seen on TV. Have you been on TV before? I feel like you must have done TV promotion stuff.
I've done it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. As seen on TV, it's like you translate that now to social.
Anything.
It's it's
just
really
anywhere. I love the old term, but this is really just like if you've been somewhere, like there's some form of media outside of your own doing that you've been involved in, like highlight that stuff, link to the webinar that you were featured on, to the YouTube page. Like if it's something like a local newspaper, put the article up there. Huge amounts of authority trust from the AI search engines for something like this.
Dude, can I tell you something? I don't know how much time you spend on the information on your slides, but when I talk to you, like the content that you provide is really good. Like I get a lot out of it, and I'm listening. I do multiple of these daily, and you do very good.
Thank you. We try to make sure that this isn't a place your sales pitch. I've got a phenomenal sales team. You want to place your sales pitch? I'm not even the best person to do it. I got guys are way better than I am. But we just think that the industry for so long had products jammed down their throat.
Yeah.
And I think, in some ways we wear the bruises of all the companies that came in with their handout looking for $1 from every agent, team, and broker out there. And we've got to earn back the trust, which is I think a real thing. But we live and breathe this. We do this every day. And so sharing this information and reminding people that there are companies that can help them with this and that there is guidance that can be given. I love when a new agent comes to us and is like, where do I go? Like, what do I do from here? And, there's a million things you can point them to. They can go pay for a coach, but we just like to give a little bit of an imprint of what can happen that will move the needle in a very, very crowded industry.
Very true, buddy.
We've done a lot of content. We've done a lot of sessions. If you're thinking, I want to start with content creation, where do I go? We've got probably 2 or 3 amazing webinars that you can find on the YouTube channel. But let me tell you that your market perspective is the number one I would start with. We don't need the generic, here's what's happening for number of solds, in the South End of Boston. I want to know, why do you think there's been an uptick in sold properties? Why has there been a downturn in properties listed over $1 million? Like, give us your perspective on the numbers that are out there, because anybody can regurgitate a market report. Very few people can interpret a market report and actually describe to you why they think something's happening. The local lifestyle guides, we've talked about this one because I think there's a lot of ability for you to let your personality, let your interest kind of come through here, and then connect with people in a very genuine way, right? I'm a father of 2, so the things that I consume and care about and the information I have, I can tell you about the best playgrounds in the city, and I can tell you about the best bar to go get a beer before and after that playground visit, and I can tell you the best place to go get a cheap kids menu meal when you need to not cook for the night. And that's very different than some of my friends who have very different lifestyles and can tell you about the latest and greatest clubs or the fanciest new buildings that opened up with, parking. So we're all going to have our own perspectives. And so writing about those guides, when you know yourself and you know your demographic of who you're really helping, can be largely important to make this feel genuine. The buying and selling process too, you asked a question earlier about how do we, if we want to be found when someone is searching for an agent, somebody searching for an agent is at the very bottom of the funnel, right? They've kind of gone through all the other steps of like, do I understand how this process works? Do I really understand where I want to be? They've probably already even seen properties. And so now they're like, I'm ready to take that kind of last step, which is like, I want to go physically see something in person. And so think of all these tricks and tips or all the things that live above, that moment of I'm looking for you, that direct agent. But these are all the things that influence and build authority. So when they go to search for, best relocation expert in Boston, I'm moving here for work. Well, you've got a ton of information that proves that you're the right person for then the AIs to find, for the SEO engines to find, for you to actually get that net new lead, but also create valuable content for all the people you've already met that you're trying to convince to work with you, that are in that kind of warm stage. So when they look you back up, because they already got your card, they already met you, they feel like there's something there to re-establish that trust. I say, like, locals want to hear from locals, right? People want this. I understand some of our agents are doing an insanely great job of being found organically through something like a Gemini or a ChatGPT, but they're still being found, on SEO. This guy, Mike, over here in the bottom right, he focuses on, the aging process for family members and options there. And he gets like 6 to 10 new leads a month through AEO. And now that's the high end of the spectrum. I'm not going to tell everybody that's what's going to happen overnight, but it's possible, right? This guy signed up on our platform a few months ago. Our platform provides the technology basis. We provide content as well if you want to use our content to continue to localize, but he's got a real niche, authentic voice that he leans into. And so I'm going to end on this slide here, but if there's anything that you do, make the content local, use the things that because we're seeing from here, we're seeing from our buyers up in our agent in the upper right-hand corner. She's got a real focus on horse properties in Oregon. And you can see her showing up in organic search results, right? She's getting leads from her site.
Casey, can we interview her?
I'd love to. Yeah. She's got an awesome local site here.
Can you connect me with her by text?
I will. Yeah, Tiffany. Her site looks beautiful. We helped her build a really great site here. And I show this one off often because you get here and it's like, it checks all the boxes. There's no mistaking what it is she does. And I love when someone's not scared to maybe alienate another group of people that she doesn't actually specialize in. You don't see fancy cars and, high-rise buildings. Like, she's sitting in a field with a horse behind her. That's a particular group that she's going after, but that group's going to look at this and go, oh, this is no BS. This is the kind of person I'm looking for. Gino, if you don't mind, if you can hit us with the link for people, the QR code for people. Like I said, check this out. We've got amazing. This is for our AI search guide. It is an amazing resource. If you're thinking about where do I rank, we'll give you ideas for how to rank better for something like AEO, how to set your site up with some of this information and even more technical information on what Playster does. It'll help show you where you are against your competition because everyone wants to know how they're keeping up with the Joneses and their friendly competition next door for other agents. And like I said, anybody on the webinar, you get 25% off your first year of Playster. We build you a site in 3 minutes with our AI. Check it out. I guarantee, even if you have a site, it's so fun to watch. I guarantee you're going to look at this and go, man, this didn't exist 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago.
Casey, I just texted you about my website. So when you get I know we're meeting later, but when you get a chance, see if we could do that.
I got it. I turn all my notifications off in the webinar.
I know,
you never know if those group chats.
I leave mine on because sometimes people don't message here. They text me. I'm like, oh, that was good. I'm like, okay, hold on. That's what I have to respond to all three things.
You're a better multitasker than I am. You do this professionally.
You're presenting.
I moonlight.
You're funny. Well, everyone, thank you for jumping in. Playster is the real thing. So please take a look at them. Test that out. Yeah. Run the whole 3-minute website. Build it out in 3 minutes with AI.
We've all got 3 minutes. We've all got 3 minutes. Do yourself a favor. Use your 3 minutes to do this. It'll be worth it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks, everybody.